Hey, Randy Joe here, and welcome back to the channel where today we're going to be doing something a little different. We're going to be looking at what Pitchfork has to say. That, of course, being the major music publication Pitchfork, you either love them or you hate them. They've been around since the 90s, I believe, actually, and have gone through many different kind of waves. In the last year or so, Pitchfork has certainly turned themselves around. I think their reviews have gotten better written, and overall just kind of back to their roots in a lot of ways. And, seeing that, they have also dropped the top 100 list of the best rap albums of all time, top hip-hop albums, I believe, but they're labeling rap, so I guess, instrumental hip-hop projects are probably not on here, which is a shame, means no donuts, of course. But seeing as this is the top 100 rap albums of all time, and rap music is one of my favorite music genres. It is one that I've grown up with quite a bit. Obviously, back in the day, I was listening to a lot of Eminem, like, many people of my type. But over the years, I have certainly expanded my palette quite a bit. And, with that being said, the top 100 best rap albums of all time by Pitchfork, there's got to be some records on here that I feel like are musts. So I made a list. I made a list of records that 100% should be on this list. Some of these are maybe I can understand not being on here. Maybe they're a little bit more outside the realm of the mainstream. But for the most part, I would like to see a bulk of these on here. First off, most definitely we will be seeing Enter the Wu-Tang 36 Chambers. That, in my opinion, is the greatest hip-hop album of all time. If I ever do a top 100 list for best rap albums, you can be rest assured that Enter the Wu-Tang would probably be taking that number one spot, if not the top three. But I feel confident still saying it's the best rap album ever. And if they're going to continue on, maybe take some solo member work from Wu-Tang, Only Built for Cuban Links, I would like to see show up here, although I'd understand Liquid Swords taking its place. Personally, I'm more partial to Raekwon, however. If they want to go more experimental, Atrocity Exhibition by Danny Brown would be definitely a top pick, a must in the top 100 in my opinion. Maybe some rap songs by Earl Sweatshirt. That's also 100% one of my favorite rap albums ever. Throwing it back to the 90s, maybe we see Ready to Die, Notorious B.I.G., of course, and maybe on the other side of that, Me Against the World by Tupac would be my choice for that. And then if they don't want to go East Coast or West Coast, maybe we're going to see what the South has to say. And, AT Aliens by Outkast, of course, should be on here. If not, Aquemini. Aquemini would be a great pick, or any Outkast for that matter. Of course, MMLP 1, I expect that to be on here, but I do think it is pretty dated at this point. And, given the fact that in the last couple of years, the Eminem show has seen quite a bit of reappraisal, I'd be surprised if the Eminem show isn't what slides in here still. T-Pab, of course, and Good Kid, Mad City. I feel like those both should be in the top 100, unless they're limiting to one artist, in which case they'll probably go, I think they'll go Good Kid, Mad City, because it's a bit more accessible, it's a bit more relatable, for the common man, I guess, and it's just got a great story to it. Continuing with some underground picks, I'm expecting Mad Villain, for sure, right there in the background with MF Doom. I'd, of course, like to see some of the more kind of optimistic, uplifting stuff from the early 90s, such as De La Soul's 3 Feet High and Rising. Incredible record, of course. And the Low End Theory, Midnight Marauders. Both of those would also be decent picks for A Tribe Called Quest. And if they do want to put Kanye on here, which I'd be surprised if they don't, but given his, controversies, they might just leave him off the list. I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised. If they go with Kanye, if they put any Kanye on here, I would pick The Life of Pablo, personally, but they're going to go The College Dropout or Graduation, because that's also seen quite a bit of reappraisal in the last couple of years. But anyway, let's get into the list here. Right off the bat, gorgeous drawing, illustration by Saint Kai. Either way, great artwork here. We see, of course, Kendrick with Mr. Morale. We see Tupac. We got MF Doom, of course. And is that Lauryn Hill, I believe, as well? I forgot to even mention Lauryn, but I'd be surprised if she's not on here. However, Miseducation of Lauryn Hill is kind of similar to that of Igor. They both can make this list, but they're not strictly rap LPs, of course. But anyway, let's get into it. Top 100, kicking it off, number 100, that being Snoop Dogg with Doggy Style. Yeah, I can see why that's here. Not, not surprising. Definitely don't love. I'm not a huge West Coast rap fan necessarily either, and I think as far as albums of that time, even Dre was doing it better, Pac was doing it better, Ice Cube was also definitely doing it a lot better. Anyway, carrying on. Number 98, Foxy Brown, Broken Silence. Don't know that one. They're definitely going a little bit more. Like, this one's a real throwback. 86, Keith LeBlanc, Major Malfunction. That sounds like one I should definitely give a listen to. I like some of my old school hip-hop. And on that topic, I do hope we get some Slick Rick, of course, the Ruler. Lupe Fiasco, interesting. I wonder if that means they are going to do multiple, albums per artist, because this isn't the record that most people would go with. Of course, Food and Liquor should be up there. Sexy Red with Hood Hottest Princess. Now that is a spicy take in the top 100, that's for sure. Personally, nothing against her. I actually like the sound of her voice. It's quite distinct and certainly matches her energy. Bastard, really, by Tyler the Creator. Bastard in the top 100. I guess if there's only 100 rap albums and that's one of them that have been invented, then yeah, that would be in the top 100. Gangstar, of course. We got some Little B representation. The Jack artist. I have never heard of this artist, but I feel like, it certainly is piquing my interest. This list is certainly not, not hitting the ones I expect to see, even of bigger artists such as Lupe. We're getting some real underdog stories here. Nicki Minaj with Beam Me Up Scotty, not Pink Friday, the first one. Okay. 2023 V's with Ganger. Again, I am not familiar. Making me feel like I need to dig a little deeper here before I venture into this list. But let's keep going. Ooh, Prince Paul, Prince Among Thieves. Now that one, I kind of like to see in the top 100. It is a solid record. It has great storytelling. I know Good Kid, Mad City took some of the storytelling elements from that and kind of used it as a bit of a blueprint in a way. And of course, Prince Paul is an incredible producer, most notably for De La Soul. But, I really enjoy Prince Among Thieves. I think the narrative is really interesting here. And there are some truly great tracks. That being said, my only drawback with this record is it does have a lot of storytelling elements in terms of skits and setting up story and narrative. And that is, for me, a bit of a drawback. But in top 100, I'll take it. That is nice to see. The Far Side, of course. I'm wondering if we'll see more Dilla on here. I wish Donuts could make the case here, because I do think Donuts, of course, is another record I would consider a masterpiece if we're talking just music in general, to be honest. Some more 80s JJ Fad representation. Obviously, Supersonic, a classic. The Chronic, Dr. Dre, coming at 62. I did skip some just because I had nothing to add or to say, because either I didn't really know of the record or I'm just not personally a huge fan. So moving on, number 62, we've got Dr. Dre's The Chronic, which is not at all surprising. We saw, of course, Doggy Style by Snoop Dogg earlier on here. And of course, The Chronic is around that same time, came out, I think, a couple years prior. But of course, this has, all the hits from Dre and really put him on the map beyond just a, lyricist and producer for, of course, NWA, which I would be surprised if we don't get any NWA on here as well. Number 60, of course, like I said, Eminem, Marshall Mathers LP 1 is on here. Number 60 is a little surprising. I thought this would be in the top 30, if I'm being honest with you. I mean, this was kind of like, I feel like the rap album of the 2000s, if not, the College Dropout, for example. But I mean, this record was unescapable. And I remember just the music videos from Eminem at the time being everywhere. I remember, you couldn't go anywhere without hearing Eminem on the radio. He became so popular. And this is kind of like the catalyst of who Eminem is and what he represents, I feel like, at the end of the day. Maybe not my favorite Eminem record. I think it has gotten a little dated, especially with some of the more kind of horror elements that he plays with. I think he does horror much better on Relapse, which I know is a hot take. But still, MMLP 1, not a surprising pick at all. Just it's surprising that it's at 60. I thought it would be much, much higher. Of course, some Public Enemy. I have not checked out this record. I can't personally speak on this album, have not listened to it, but I do really enjoy their album, It Takes a Nation of Millions to Hold Us Back, which I think came out, if I'm not mistaken, a couple years before this one, a bit of an earlier record of theirs. And, I love that album. I think it's fantastic, and I think, Flavor Flav on here, or on that record, is incredible. I love what he brings to the table, while Chuck D, of course, is, really in your face and kind of aggressive with what he has to say, politically speaking, of course. A really great dynamic they are. I'm glad they're on the list. But Fear of a Black Planet is for sure a record I have to check out, because I do love It Takes a Nation. Gucci Mane, of course, not too surprised he'd make the list somewhere. Pop Smoke, I feel like, not necessarily for me, but he certainly was kind of a big name at the time, and it feels very honorable, of course, to include him on the list. We're getting some Lil' Kim, hardcore. I've always enjoyed Lil' Kim when she's featured on another track on the albums I have heard her. I've never given a project of hers a full listen, but I feel like that should change. I mean, I think she is kind of like one of the original, big name female rappers who were really just kind of in your face and vulgar, and weren't kind of shy about it, which I personally have a lot of respect for, just the fact that she was a pioneer of that style. And of course, a lot of rappers who would come later in the female rapper scene would kind of try to mimic her style in a little bit. Oh, hold on. J Dilla Donuts does make the list. This is not a rap album. I am very surprised it was on here. There are lyrics technically, in the sense that it samples, of course, a plethora of classic, soul and rock and rap records, and of various other pieces of music. But J Dilla Donuts, it's not a lyrical rap album, so I am surprised for it to even be on the list at all, simply by virtue of the fact that it's an instrumental project. It's Plunderphonics to be exact. But it should be on the list, in my opinion. If we're doing a hip hop list, which it seems like that's the direction they're going fully, dropping just the rap element, then Donuts is 100% deserving to be on the list. I would put it higher though. 49, if we're including it, it should be higher. It should be top 25 at least. Maybe I'll do a list one day, and I would put it much higher than that. That's for sure. 49. I'm actually, the more I think about it, the more insulting that is. But great record, perfect record in my eyes. Let's keep going. I'm sorry. Can we just scroll real quick? Take Care, Drake. Of course, often regarded as his best LP. I think the title track is brilliant still. Love, the hits from this, of course. Not the biggest Drake fan per se, but still, I would include it in the list, because you have to include Drake, I feel like, somewhere on a top 100 list. But above Donuts, do not agree with that whatsoever, but let's keep going. Oh, I actually did not know if they would include any Danny Brown. But seeing as how, left field this list has been so far, I'm not too surprised. I'm glad he's made the list. If they're allowing multiple albums, I'll be surprised if Atrocity Exhibition doesn't top this one. That being said, Triple X is, in my opinion, just as strong of a project as Atrocity Exhibition. I love Triple X. It's one of my favorite hip-hop albums ever. Would most definitely be in my top 10. That first half especially is some of Danny's most comedic and just off-the-wall lyricism he's ever done, with the greatest wordplay I think he's ever done sometimes. Whereas the second side is just so dark and depressing, and really just gets into the grittiness, and Danny drops that kind of high-pitched, cartoonish vocal that he does and that he's known for in the second half. And it really makes the project interesting in my eyes, with the way it kind of has a paralleling side and shows two sides of the same coin in a sense, this kind of downward spiral, which of course he would continue on with, of course, Atrocity Exhibition. But Triple X 45 should be much higher. At least make it 30. I feel like you have to. But, would be in my top 10. Let's keep going. Of course, To Pimp a Butterfly. I'm not surprised it's on the list. I am surprised it's at 44 of every hip-hop album ever made. 44. Really? That is certainly a choice. That is certainly a choice indeed. I would put it much higher, that's for sure. That's shocking. Well, let's keep going. That is a very shocking hit there. Next, we've got Die Lit. Cardi is officially now better than Kendrick Lamar. That is what Pitchfork is saying. Not actually, obviously, there's more nuance to it, but Die Lit above To Pimp a Butterfly is certainly a choice. Not too surprised that Cardi is on here. Don't know if I would put him on here personally. Never really got the appeal to most of his music, but still, I respect it. That SoundCloud era was pretty massive, and I feel like he is one of, if not the biggest, to come out of the SoundCloud era, and certainly kind of has evolved it far beyond the other artists at the time had from that same, era. But continuing, Missy Elliott, nice to see, of course. Run DMC, of course. Not surprised. Keeping it old school. Lil Wayne, not the project I expected, but cool to see. Oh, I was going to include that on my list, but I really didn't expect to see it. I don't see enough Bone Thugs and Harmony love online. I thought maybe it was more of a personal passion of mine, but E99 Eternal, incredible. Love to see it, of course. Really great Memphis rap record. I don't know if it really even is technically part of Memphis rap, but it's certainly within that style and realm, and I am happy to see it on the list. I am shocked once again, keep in mind, this is all above T-Pab, which I'm very shocked by. Good Kid, Mad City is going to be on this list, because if they're putting To Pimp a Butterfly on here, I'd be very surprised if we don't see Good Kid in the top 10, top 15, because that would be an interesting choice. I feel like he's such a force to be reckoned with. But continuing, like I said, 39, Bone Thugs, love to see it. Beastie Boys, Paul's Boutique, of course, has to be on there. Liquid Swords, Jizza, incredible, album. I prefer Raekwon. I really hope we see Only Built for Cuban Links on here. And, of course, we will see Enter the Wu-Tang. It's just a lock-in. It's a free bingo, whatever you call it, free space. So Liquid Swords, though, great wordplay. Honestly, one of the most talented MCs of the group. Not a huge fan of his personality and identity with it. I think he's not as interesting as the rest of the members are at times, but still has to be on here. Incredible production, too, on that. I love the atmosphere. E40, yep. Or yup, as he would say. DMX, yeah, not surprised. Oh, I was also going to put this on my list, but I didn't think it would be here, but still, Capone and Noriega, incredible duo. I think Noriega is super underrated and one of the best rappers from the 90s, especially. Deserves a lot more attention, a lot more praise. The War Report, incredible record, a must-listen-to album, of course. And I love to see it on here. It's a really great late 90s record, a real throwback sound to it in a way, but still feels very much of its time in a good way. It's not dated, I would say. It has a certain flavor to it that is entirely unique. And I love this duo. I love to see Capone and Noriega on the list. 32. That feels appropriate. That feels fair. I don't know if I would put them that high. Around 30 is fair to me. Of course, got to put Ka on here. R.I.P. Just passed last year, I believe it was. That was a rough loss, unfortunately. Not just a legendary underground rapper, but also a firefighter, literally saving people's lives as a day job, aside from his impeccable discography. Love to see it. And I love this album cover too, of course, Descendants of Cain. I believe that's a Gustave Doré image. Moving on, Jay-Z, The Blueprint. Wonder if that's the only Jay-Z record on here. I'll be surprised. I'll be surprised if there's more. Actually, I'll be surprised if there's another Jay-Z. I feel like this is the one they're sticking with. I think they're gonna only pick one. Kanye West, Yeezus. In what world? I personally do not like this record. I love, the noise rap scene. Not surprising. I'm a huge fan of Death Grips. I love what they do. And I feel like Yeezus, like I said in my Kanye ranking video a couple of years back, Yeezus to me just feels like he is following trends, biting another style, which is sad to see because I think he's usually the one that is in the forefront of, evolving rap at the time, involving hip hop. But Yeezus does feel like he's just kind of following trend rather than creating a trend. So, not personally my favorite. I also just think, lyrically, I get that it's not meant to be taken seriously. It's meant to be more fun in a sense. But I just, even as a fun rap record goes, the lyrics are too cartoonish and kind of make my eyes roll more than anything. And the instrumentals are grating at times, and not in the way a good kind of industrial noise rap album should kind of sound. So don't love it. Don't love it. Mos Def, Black on Both Sides for sure should be on here. Some rap songs. There it is. And there it is. It should be in the list. So I'm glad it's here. 25 is fair. I would put it higher, but I know I'm a huge fan of that record a little bit more personally. But if we're talking from a objective standpoint or influence or whatever that these lists often try to kind of aggregate into, some rap songs being at 25 is not too surprising. Above T-Pab though, I agree, but I'm just shocked they do. I'm shocked they agree with that, because that is certainly a spicy take by most people's opinion. But some rap songs should be on here. NWA, of course, like I said. There it is, Slick Rick the Ruler with the Great Adventures of Slick Rick. Love to see it. Needs to be on the list. I know it's a bit of an old school sound. Some people I have tried to put this onto don't love it because it's got that kind of 80s, a little bit of campy kind of rap to it. But Slick Rick as a lyricist was one of the best storytellers. And I think this album just has such a great fun energy to it as well. The production is really bouncy and fun, and just kind of captures the whole image and feel of Slick Rick, and definitely should be on the top 100 list. And I'm glad to see it this high up. 23. 23. That's a pretty high rating for Mr. Slick Rick, but shows that they certainly respect the legends of the past. Number 22, we've got Goody Mob, Soul Food. Decent record, great record, just not one I go back to, but Cell Therapy is incredible, so there is that. Definitely should go back to this one again, now that I think about it, because when I gave it a listen, I gave it, I listened to it about a week straight, loved it, but just sort of grew off me over time. Maybe the CeeLo Green is what turned me off reading about him at the time, but going on, of course, Ready to Die is on here. Number 21 is not high enough. I'd put this higher. I'd put this at like the 10 to 15 range, a solid 12. But 21, interesting. 20, De La Soul, of course, should be on here. I feel like this is like one of their most underrated albums. No one talks about this one. Respectable pick. Wu-Tang. Wait, hold on a second. We got to pause with this one. Wu-Tang Clan, Enter the Wu-Tang 36 Chambers. Of course, should be on the list. This to me, like I have said on this video, and I think in other videos I've talked in the past, Enter the Wu-Tang is, in my opinion, the greatest rap album ever created. This would be my number one. I always feel pretty firm in that belief. It hasn't changed that much over the years. Of course, there's some rap albums that I would put close to it. They would be in the top 5 with it, of course, but I don't know if anything really even comes close in my eyes to Wu-Tang. I feel like they are such a classic, gritty hip-hop sound that completely transformed the landscape of hip-hop to come. And as far as East Coast rap goes, I mean, yeah, of course you can shout out Nas with Illmatic, which will, of course, make the list, I am sure. But Wu-Tang, to me, is a lot more flavorful than any other rap album I can name at the time or to date. There's a lot of character in the fact that everyone has their own unique personality of the entire group. Almost every single member shows up on this album, and it is just one of the best debuts of any piece of music ever. One of the best rap debuts, probably the best rap debut. And, each member here is, in my opinion, doing some of their best work in their careers in general. And on top of that, you've got the whole classic kind of karate theme all intertwined, incredibly well produced by RZA, of course, who has like this really gritty, flavorful sort of cinematic flair to this whole project. Should be way higher. 19 is like a high spot of top 100, sure, but in no world is this any less than 10. So what do you think is higher? What do they think is higher? What's number 18? Okay, Paid in Full, not surprised it's on here. Nothing against them either. I would take Wu-Tang over it, but Paid in Full deserves to be here. Of course, Rakim is a great lyricist as well, and definitely as well legend of that same era as Slick Rick would be in. Moving on, MF Doom, Operation Doomsday. The debut. I love this album. I don't, even as a huge MF Doom fan, I would not put Operation Doomsday on a top 100 in general. I think it's a great album. Don't get me wrong. It's a solid 8 out of 10. But the top 100 should be 9s and 10s only, if we're going numerical here. But Operation Doomsday, Mad Villain has to be on here, right? Multiple MF Dooms in the top spots. That'd be interesting. 16, Future. That's fine, DS2, but in the top 25, above T-Pab, above Wu-Tang, above some rap songs, interesting. We'll leave it at that. Raekwon, Only Built for Cuban Links, should be on here. Love to see it. Higher than Liquid Swords and Wu-Tang. Yeah, give it up for Raekwon. Yeah. Better than Wu-Tang? No, but I you know what? There was a period where I did say it was better than Wu-Tang Clan solo record, or a debut record, I should say. I don't agree with my own opinion of that anymore, but Only Built for Cuban Links is a pretty much perfect record as well, and I love the energy on this thing. Ghostface and Raekwon kill it on this project. The sample work as well is incredible on here. A lot more action-y oriented as well, a little more karate action in a sense. Just has a really great fiery energy to the whole project. And yeah, I love seeing that on here though. That's awesome. 14, It Takes a Nation of Millions to Hold Us Back. I've already said what I had to say. Flavor Flav is great. Chuck D is great. They deserve to be on here. Moving on, A Tribe Called Quest, Low End Theory, not surprised. I think this is technically their best album in a way, like production-wise and songwriting-wise. Might be their most accessible while still feeling very groundbreaking for its time. But I think they improved a lot of their aspects on Midnight Marauders. But, definitely not as impactful, I guess. So if we don't see Midnight Marauders, I'm not surprised. But I would put Midnight Marauders above a lot of albums we've seen so far on the list, that's for sure. So 13, Tribe Called Quest. 12, Good Kid, Mad City. So if we've already gotten rid of Wu-Tang, and we've gotten rid of To Pimp a Butterfly, now Good Kid, Mad City at 12. We're at 12. We still have 10 plus. We have 11 spots to go, but what's going to be up there? We saw Ready to Die already. We haven't seen any Outkast. We will see Outkast in the top 10 for sure. We haven't seen any Tupac. So I'm thinking in the top 10, we're going to see a Kanye album, probably The College Dropout. We're going to see a Tupac album, probably All Eyes on Me, even though Me Against the World is better in my opinion. I think All Eyes on Me is quite bloated for an album overall. No, we got Bastard by Tyler though, but we got to get something else there. I don't know. So yeah, this will be an interesting top 10, that's for sure. Because unless they're putting Mr. Morale up there, I think that's it for Kendrick at 12 with Good Kid. That's interesting. Illmatic's probably gonna hit number 1. 11, Life After Death. Okay. Yeah. It's got some higher highs than Life After Death. I'll give it that. But overall, I would say this one's a bit more of a mixed batch. And it's also very bloated, similar to All Eyes on Me. Yeah, I'm glad it's here. I love the Bone Thugs and Harmony collab on this one as well. And just love the energy on this. But that's not even top 10. Let's start the top 10. Number 10, coming at the number 10 space above Wu-Tang, T-Pab, everything we've seen so far. We've got Mad Villainy. That's appropriate. That's fair. Should be in the top 10. Number 9, we've got Outkast with Aquemini. Again, more personally a fan of AT Aliens, but Aquemini deserves the spot just as much. Great album overall. Hell Hath No Fury. I forgot to put clips on the list. I don't know why I didn't put clips on the list. They should be up here. I'm glad they're here. Love their new album, of course. Incredible rap album, one of the best rap albums of the year. And Hell Hath No Fury is also an incredible display of their kind of vicious style that they're known for. Also love their debut, but this is fair. That's appropriate. Number 8. Number 7, Miseducation of Lauryn Hill. Okay, we're including that. Okay. Maybe Igor will have a chance if we're including stuff that's a little bit outside the realm of your traditional hip-hop and rap. But still, Lauryn Hill, incredible. This deserves the, top 10 for sure. I would put this in top 10, so I'm not surprised it's on here. Maybe I'd put top 15 if I were to really think about it. I don't know. I feel like the fact that it's not a true to form hip-hop rap album, maybe that kind of changes things a little bit, because how are you determining the list? Are they having to be strictly to their core hip hop, which would bump this down a little bit? But hey, you know what, Lauryn Hill, love to see it, has some incredible hits on here. Her voice is immaculate. I assume we're not getting any Fugees, so that's fine. I'll take Lauryn Hill, but I would have also liked to see the Fugees on the list. That'd be a welcome addition and should be in the top 100 if I'm being honest. Number 6, Rich Gang. We'll just we're just gonna go past that one. We're just gonna go. I don't know. Number 5 is Illmatic. What's in the top 5 then? If it's not, what's for top 4? Illmatic. Not surprised. Great album. Took me a while to really appreciate, get into. But I mean, lyrically, Nas is kind of like on another level. Along the likes of, someone like maybe an MF Doom, for example, with just how layered the lyricism is. Production on here, has some great tracks. Of course, New York State of Mind is one that comes to mind. Of course, it's not my favorite album in terms of production, especially from the kind of East Coast kind of flavor that we get. Personally, like I said, East Coast wise, Wu-Tang, Notorious B.I.G., they're doing it better in my eyes, but moving on. But Illmatic is certainly deserving of top 5, Incredible rapper. I wouldn't put this in my top 5 again, personal preferences aside. It deserves to be top 5, but personally, I would, again, not put this top 5. Top 4, what's number 4? We've got Ghostface Killah, Supreme Clientele. Sure, yeah, interesting. A bit of a left field pick. This is like the Ghostface Killah record, but this is an interesting pick Would I put it top 10? Personally, I'm not so sure, but it's kind of cool to see. It's a bit of a left field pick. Again, of all the Wu-Tang members, I did not expect this album to be the one to top all of them, because at this point, there's really no one else I could see being another Wu-Tang member this high up. Again, Raekwon's project is Only Built for Cuban Links is better in my eyes. Liquid Swords, I think, is better. But hey, Supreme Clientele, shout out Ghostface. Top 3. Number 3, we've got Juvenile, 400 Degrees. You know, I'm going to be honest with you. I've not heard this one. I know this is like a classic, so I'm not going to disregard it here on the list. You know, it makes sense that it's here with how much praise I've seen it get online. But I definitely should give this one a listen if I'm ever going to make a top 100 list. I feel like this is a deserved listen for sure. But still, hey, 400 Degrees, cool to see. Number 2, All Eyes on Me by Tupac is the wrong Tupac album. It should be Me Against the World. Me Against the World has a lot more heart, has a lot more personality, has a lot more just great melodies overall. It hits hard, and it's still kind of has that gangster edge that he was known for. But I feel like it's a bit of a softer Tupac that I just prefer. On top of that, All Eyes on Me is so long and so bloated with a lot of filler tracks, if I'm being completely honest with you. Like a lot of filler. Life After Death is a lot better too, in terms of like double LPs at the same time. Life After Death is way better. But Me Against the World should be above this as well. Number 2 of all time. I think that might be the most offensive thing on the list to me. Number 1, the greatest hip-hop rap LP ever, according to Pitchfork. Even though I thought it was going to be Wu-Tang or Illmatic or, Pac or something, or Kendrick. Number 1 of all time, according to them, is Mobb Deep's The Infamous. Actually, that's not surprising. I was like prepared to be shocked and appalled by their number 1 pick. But this is like kind of a classic and has, incredible production on it too, a great atmosphere. And of course, Shook Ones is one that part 2. People still reference how incredible and just powerful the production is on that one. Just be one of the best beats ever invented. But that's it. Mobb Deep, The Infamous, number 1. That is not even a bold choice. That's a respectable choice. So that closes out the top 100 from Pitchfork. Some other albums, we didn't really see a whole lot of Tyler. We saw Bastard. I would have preferred something else other than that. I don't know why Bastard is their pick. Of all Tyler albums, that's their pick. Call Me If You Get Lost would have been an amazing pick. Their pick for De La Soul was quite interesting for sure. I'm surprised they didn't do 3 Feet High and Rising or Stakes Are High. Glad they put Danny Brown on here, but would have also liked to see Atrocity Exhibition make the list. And yeah, that's everything in the top 100. But it's just it's a very shocking list to me. There's a lot of underground picks and a lot of stuff that I wouldn't put nearly as high as they did. But maybe that'll be a list for another day for myself. But Mobb Deep, number 1. Honestly, I respect it. I respect it for sure. But All Eyes on Me should not be in the top 10. But that does it for today's video of the top 100 hip-hop albums by Pitchfork. That's looking over the list. Many disagreements, but that's all there is to it. So, as always, my name is Randy Joe. I appreciate you watching. I appreciate you liking if you like the video, subscribing if you want to see more content similar to this one, or my reactions, of course. We're covering, Pink Floyd. We're closing out just now. We're doing Cocteau Twins album reactions. We're doing new album reactions. We're doing it all on the channel. We always will. But, as always, my name is Randy Joe. I appreciate you watching. Subscribe, and I'm signing out.